time to abandon ship.
Oh no!
Here we go!
Can I persuade you to join us for a drink? It's a tradition.
Here, here.
Jar Jar, homie, my main man, quickly. Before the Separatists attack, get into the escape pod.
Right! This is escape, then we're the pod.
Welcome back to Star Wars Escape Pod, and a great episode this week. We got a packed night tonight. We've got your co-host Kirk joining us this evening, and who else? Who knows who else is going to pop in? But we'll see. We've got some news from the Game Awards as of tonight. The recording, some pretty awesome news has come to light for some new Star Wars video games coming out in the next couple year or two, I guess, or a couple months, who knows. And we also have some chat in regards to Orbitkey's new Disney lineup, and finally a comparison between the old and the new when it comes to Star Wars Battlefront. So lots of game stuff on the roster this evening. Let's dive right in.
Another happy landing.
I want it back. The way it was before the Empire shut it down. Massive engines. Lightning fast. Lives on the line. The pilots were incredible. Best of the best. United by one beautiful dream. The galaxy needs racing.
Coming 2026 is Star Wars Galactic Racer. What do you think about that, Kirk?
Oh man, I was just watching the trailer for the first time. Then it looks, it's looking pretty good. I mean, no gameplay footage yet, but yeah, it's looking great. Yeah,
it looks awesome. I mean, StarWars.com did a bit of an article just 45 minutes ago, and they say you can almost feel Jakku's sun beating down on your face as you round the bend, navigating between a downed Star Destroyer and what's left of an AT-AT in the graveyard of giants. So we're going to see the return of Jakku in this game. They also had something to, Fuse Games, the co-founder Matt Webster and VP and GM of Lucasfilm Games, Douglas Riley, sat down with StarWars.com for the trailer breakdown. This game will also see the return of Sebulba, which is pretty awesome because recently we had Sebulba return in a VR game, also racing style gameplay called Beyond Victory, which launched on the Quest 3S and 3 platforms. So it's neat to see that character come back again for anyone who wasn't able to get a glimpse of him in the VR world. And I do wonder what this story is going to be like. I assume that there's going to be some sort of story involved, but yeah, I mean, Star Wars is a big part of racing is a big part of Star Wars. I mean, like how many times have you watched The Phantom Menace and kind of gone back to the pod racing sequence and just admired how much work has gone into that and like constructing that?
It's like, I feel like there could be just a whole movie, like give me like F1 style, but like Galactic Racer movie. It's one of the best parts of Phantom Menace for sure.
Yeah, even in Attack of the Clones, when Anakin and Obi-Wan walk into that bar on Coruscant, and you see on the monitors, like in the cantina, that they're watching like different games happening across the galaxy, and it's just a memorable part of Star Wars, at least for me. And when I was a kid, there was this book series that I loved reading. It was called Jedi Quest. And I think it was the third novel that featured a story of like young Anakin Skywalker is between episode 1 and 2, and him and Obi-Wan go on a mission somewhere, and it involves someone who has to compete in a race, and the opponent in this race is Sebulba, and Sebulba has purchased Anakin's pod racer. So like he is now like his old nemesis is like driving his pod racer that was built to be the fastest ever, and Anakin has to help this guy there, or this new character, like build a racer that's like faster than his old one. So I thought it was like such a cool like story element. Just I don't know, big part of Star Wars is the racing. Did you ever play the old racer games?
Only I've actually played quite a few arcade games in the past. I couldn't tell you which ones that they were, but I haven't actually played too many of them over the years. But I'm keen. I'm more into them now, so I'm keen. I'd probably be keen to get back.
Yeah. They have a little a quote from the article here, and it says Lucasfilm Games has had a long and successful relationship with many of the key leaders at Fuse Games and their time at Criterion, including their work on Star Wars Battlefront 2 Starfighter mode, Riley notes. In addition to the great work on our projects, they have been industry leaders in some of the most beloved racing franchises in Need for Speed and Burnout. I can't think of any other studio better suited to bring Star Wars racing back to our fans. Have you had any experience with Need for Speed or Burnout?
Oh yeah, I used to play. I played Need for Speed Most Wanted. That was like. Oh, I played so much of that game. That's a bit of a throwback with like the BMW, like the M3 and stuff. So are these the same guys developing this one?
Yeah, it's the same studio.
Oh, we should be in good hands then.
It should be, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't played them in years, so like I can't speak for that accurate of a representation. But yeah, I used to play them back in like the early 2000s, not early 2000s, like late 2000s, I guess, early 2010s. It's good.
Yeah. So this game, in the first trailer, we meet a character named Shade, who's a lone racer with a dream of glory and revenge. Webster also hints coming down the ramp to join the paddock on Jakku. Look very closely, and you may even see a flock of steelpeckers surveying the landscape. Players will learn more about Shade as they progress through the game's campaign. Your aim is to survive long enough to earn your shot at becoming an elite racing pilot, Webster says. Our races are high-stakes competitions where racers do everything they can to get in front and in the solo campaign and in our awesome multiplayer gameplay. So there will be multiplayer gameplay, of course, which is pretty exciting. There's a planet that shows up called Ando Prime. So we got Jakku, Ando Prime. I'm sure we'll see many other awesome biomes as well. The high-speed teaser shows racers on all types of land speeders and speeder bikes, navigating locations like Jakku, Ando Prime. Of the later Webster notes, it's a backdrop to a brand new skim speeder showing its unique handling properties as it cuts through the racing pack. This awesome image of a skim speeder highlights those different racing lines and handling characteristics in one shot. Skim speeders are vehicles that reward flowing lines and maintaining momentum, banking through corners and knife edging through narrow gaps. We're really excited to bring this new creation to life, and we're looking forward to sharing more about this new vehicle and other gaming details in the future updates. The latest Galactic Racing expression will stand apart from its predecessors and other games in the genre. We've drawn real inspiration from runs-based games, so the player will have meaningful, consequential decisions to be making on how they choose their path to become an elite racing pilot. From the vehicle that they choose to start with, the upgrade choices they make to create builds that really suits their playstyle, and what events they select in determining their path to become champion of the league, Webster says. Along the way, you'll compete with rivals, journey to new planets, and master different classes of repulsor craft or speeders, each of their own distinct capabilities. So he goes on to talk a little bit more about that. He also does mention, of course, Galactic Racer is filled with new characters and locations, including like Sentinel-1, revealed in the trailer for the first time. It's home to a Skakoan listening station built on a vast planetary scale with huge antennas and littering the landscape. And he also says that the Doug who tried to cheat his way through the Boon to Eve Classic, Sebulba, is returning, and everyone loves a good Sebulba story. So there are particular reasons why he finds his way into our trailer, as well as a detail in this shot that may lead to even more questions. And that detail happens to be his long gray beard. So I don't know if...
How old does his species live for? Because obviously he's probably, he's quite older this time.
Yeah, I mean, like, that's kind of what I'm wondering too. I mean, maybe it's not uncommon to have an alien species that does live 200-300 years. It's sort of well known that humans don't live very long naturally in Star Wars. So in that regards, I mean, the human race is kind of a inferior race, compared to the aliens. A lot of the aliens that live many, many years, longer in terms of lifespan and knowledge and technology and stuff like that. But yeah, I think it's very possible that we could be looking at a game that takes place even after Episode 9, because I don't I don't know about you, but just the idea of Rey living on Jakku, it doesn't really quite line up if there's these races happening at the same time. Like I imagine this game to possibly take place after everything, like after the First Order is all like done and gone. And this could be kind of in that new Jedi Order time period that we're looking at, which is going to be heading into the Ryan Gosling movie, Starfighter.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm getting that feeling. Like, where do you think this game like takes place?
I feel like as these new movies start to come out, they'll begin to just they'll begin to fill in the gaps probably after. I would say. Although I guess they haven't. I'm not sure. I feel like they probably will start putting some games after Episode 9, but it's hard to say. I guess it could very well be before after Episode 6, in between that time period.
Yeah, it certainly could be. That would be really cool if it did. I mean, like that would make Sebulba, like, I don't know, how old would he be? Like maybe like. Well,
how old was he in the Phantom Menace? Yeah, he'd be like kind of like how old Cad Bane was in Book of Boba Fett.
Right.
Even though that was technically that was 30 years before the end of this.
Yeah, because like I really should keep this number like on my palm somewhere, but. Like from Phantom Menace to Episode 9, like I always blank on how many years precisely that is, but I believe it's something around.
I think it was like 30 or something, wasn't it?
It's like double that. It's like because like there's 19 years between 3 and 4. The whole prequel trilogy takes place over the course of 13 years roughly, and then the original trilogy is 5 years of time, I think. If not 3 or 4, and then there's a gap there afterwards of 19 years before Force Awakens, and then the sequel trilogy is like 2 years.
Right.
So what does that add up to?
Oh God, I wasn't getting my calculator up, but that sounds around about 70 something, doesn't it?
Yeah, like it made close to 80 years or something like that. So.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not hard to believe that maybe he could be like 90 or like 100, I guess. I don't know. I don't know how old he was to begin with, but it seemed like he was maybe a young hot shot, maybe 20s kind of attitude, or I don't know. Like how much of a jerk does someone need to be to like beat around like a 12-year-old, you know what I mean? Like
it doesn't take age for that to happen. Not coming from anyone that I know that's done that, but I guess you can just never be too careful.
Oh boy. Well, Galactic Racer is up for wish listing already on digital stores and platforms across PlayStation, Xbox, and Steam on PC. So very much looking forward to playing this game. There was one other game at the Game Awards tonight, so let's just take a quick listen to Fate of the Old Republic. Right. So, yeah, this game looks insane. I mean, none of this is actual gameplay. These cinematics are all done in post-production, visual effects companies. And, yeah, I mean, possibly the models and stuff are handed over, but, none of that is game engine rendered. I don't believe. It's so clean, you know what I mean? But
it looks so. I was about to say it looks so good.
yeah. Sadly, a lot of those cinematic trailers are typically not done in the game engine, but it looks cool, and they highlighted the game director's name at the very tail end there. Casey Hudson, who is the director of the original Knights of the Old Republic game series. That's the first and the second one. And we actually just had a special guest on the podcast just recently, and that episode debuted as when this one launches. It'll be last week's episode. That was Mike from Switch to the Past. And we did a chat on the original KOTOR and KOTOR 2. So it's just crazy that this announcement comes out this week of all weeks, because people have been waiting like over 20 years for a good KOTOR successor. And, finally, this is it. This is essentially the spiritual successor to Knights of the Old Republic. And the Old Republic MMORPG that people have been playing from EA and BioWare for years now. That one came out over 10 years ago, I think. And that game, it's in its own way, it is a spiritual successor as well to Knights of the Old Republic, but it kind of goes off and it does its own thing for purposes of creating the MMO experience. So it's really very much not canon. It's kind of doing its own thing. It creates that Star Wars universe people want to play in for an MMORPG experience, but it's not really a narratively, cinematically driven game at all. And, here we are once again with a AAA game that's going to come out and really deliver us an experience that's probably inspired by KOTOR, but probably fits within the canon, and also done by the same director as the original KOTOR game series, which both those original games had stellar stories to the game itself. So I'm pretty excited to be able to play this game at some point in the future, assuming that it actually comes out. And this guy also did the Mass Effect series. So if you play Mass Effect, maybe you're a big fan of Mass Effect. But what do you think of this? What do you think of this game?
Yeah, someone that likes movies and watches a lot more movies than I do play games. It's cool to see them put the director's name on the end there. So I thought that was cool. But yeah, the game looks great. I will admit I haven't played the originals, or I played maybe an hour of the remaster that came out on Nintendo Switch ages ago. They put a remastered version or something on the Switch, and I sat down for an hour and I haven't gotten back to it. So I do need it's been on my list to get to. But nevertheless, this one looks good. Although as you said, it's just it's just like a cinematic trailer from a completely different engine. So we may never know until what it looks like, and we're still waiting for Eclipse as well.
Yeah, we are. StarWars.com sat down with Casey as well to talk about Fate of the Old Republic, and they had these things to say about the game. So this will be developed by, it's the first one in quite some time, Star Wars-wise, to be done by Casey. This one is blending innovative storytelling, memorable characters, and a heart-pounding combat. This game will immerse you in an unforgettable experience where every decision deepens your journey toward the light or the dark. So it seems like they're really carrying on the system that they came up with for KOTOR 2, where your decisions affected your character's journey in the Force. And that was part of the draw of that game, is really that you had that ability to push your character into the light or the dark, depending on what you wanted to do with that character inside the game. And this is a kind of a small debate, I guess, that we were trying to go over in the grand scheme of how Star Wars Eclipse will be, because when Blake and I played the Quantic Dream games for Beyond Two Souls and Detroit Become Human, there is this element that drives the game, which you are essentially directing a story as the game unfolds. You're making decisions for the character, things that you want them to do or say. You drive your character physically in the world and tell them where to go. But you know, at the end of the day, a lot of it is conversation and discussion based, and you do choose different paths, and those paths will affect the story later in the game or in the present moment. So I do wonder if how much of an effect that system will have on the game. Like maybe there's one ending or a different ending. Maybe there's only two ways to end the game based on your light or dark affiliation. I don't really know, but it seems as if they're really putting some emphasis on that part of the game, which sounds kind of interesting. Have you ever played a game like that?
It's hard, like in terms of like a game that, you know, the choices that you make changes the outcome of your character and the ending of a game. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, just any kind of game in which you as a player affect the story.
I think also for me, it's one of my favorite games that I've played in the last like 5-10 years. That was Cyberpunk. Like, although there's technically like there's not like millions of permutations of like outcomes that can that can happen, but there are definitely quite a few. And I remember I've played the game a couple times now, being aware of like the different outcomes and things. Like I really like it. I think that's one of those things with, I mean, obviously there are some games like with Jedi Survivor, like I enjoyed how it was like one storyline, but it is definitely cool when, you know, you like what you're doing and what your choices are have some kind of impact, unless you then go up and then you research online the other endings that could have happened, and then you end up preferring a different ending. And then you go back, you're like, oh, how do I do that ending?
Right. Yeah. Well, they do say that Fate of the Old Republic is not a direct sequel or continuation, but it is being built by the people who helped shape that legacy. And throughout 2 decades of working on Star Wars games, including the Old Republic, Casey says he has been extremely fortunate to see firsthand just how much these stories mean to our fans. And for us, this new project is about honoring that legacy by creating something in the same tradition of a deep cinematic choice-driven role-play game. Reuniting with Casey has been a tremendous honor, and we are pouring all of our shared passion and experience into building the next great chapter. So that's what they have to say on that, and there's a lot more that you can find on StarWars.com through these interviews, and I'm really looking forward to seeing kind of what they do with this game. So this one doesn't have a release date. Same with Galactic Racer. Neither of them have existing release dates, but Galactic Racer is probably going to come out way sooner, seeing as you can wishlist that one today, and this one has no listings at all. So yeah, I mean, we're still...
Well, Galactic Racer says 2026, doesn't it?
Galactic Racer is for sure happening next year, which means that we'll be getting 2 Star Wars games next year. That's one of them, and then Zero Company will be the other one. That's the like the tactical strategy board game, essentially, is what it is. So yeah, that's what those are. Those are both coming out next year. But other than that, you know, this one, let's just add it to the list of Let's Hopes, which, you know, that's Star Wars Eclipse, that's KOTOR remake, that's the Total War studio possibly making a real-time strategy of some kind. I mean, there's numerous Star Wars games always getting announced and then possibly getting canceled in the process. So. Hoping for the best for this one, but great to see the news.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah. All right, and let's take a quick moment here to open the blast doors, and we've got Kyle joining us this evening. Hello, Kyle.
Hello there. How are you guys doing?
Oh, good, thanks. How are you?
Doing fine. Just out of the kids' Christmas pageant thing.
Awesome. Awesome. Yeah. Good. Hey, we got some cool stuff to go over before we get to the Battlefront stuff. And I know you don't have too much time, Kirk, but your old friends at Orbitkey have sent us over some cool stuff, and just wanted to take a moment to talk about their Disney line, because previously to the Disney line, they were doing a big Star Wars line. They did key organizers. They did some organizable like accessories on your desk box. It's called the Nest. They did some desk mats. What else did they do, Kirk? I'm trying to think.
I think with the Star Wars line, they did the rings as well, and I think that was it. The
key rings. Right.
Yeah. I think you've got a much better handle on it now than I do. But yeah, they did a few cool things.
Nice. All right. Well, they sent us three different things here. First up is the key organizer, just like the Star Wars lineup. These are very much like character themed, so they come in this nice little box, and the boxes have gotten even better now. Now it's like magnetically closable, which is nice. Listen to this. Listen to that. A little pop there. That's just
that screams quality.
Oh yeah. Like listen to this. Listen to this again. Boom. Magnet.
I didn't hear it that time.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I think your noise cancellation. I imagine it sounded just as good as the first time.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, me too.
Wait, which product is this one?
So this one is the Mickey Mouse. So like it's for a lot of Star Wars fans, I feel like.
Wait, was
Disney,
that the box, or was that what were you opening and closing?
Oh, that's the box. Yeah, that's like the lid.
The box.
Yeah, so the box.
Is it the gift set with the ring and the key organizer?
No, it's just the key organizer. They've made the boxes. So the Star Wars ones, you had like a slide out kind of drawer design.
Oh, right.
These ones have like a magnetic flap instead on the front side, and it's like a door.
Oh.
A door, it swings open, and you can reveal the product inside. It's like it's crazy, man. But that's
pretty awesome.
Yeah, so they're character inspired. So this one is Mickey Mouse, and if anyone doesn't know what the key organizer is, basically picture it as a Swiss Army knife, but for your house keys. This one is black, and it has Mickey Mouse's red short pants, like kind of painted like down on the bottom in a very sort of savoring, cool way. And on the inside, I believe they usually engrave something on the inside there. So you got the like kind of an embossed Disney logo, and I don't know. You rock one of these, right, Kirk?
I don't have the Mickey Mouse or any of the Disney ones yet.
The Star Wars one, I mean.
The Star Wars ones, like the ones that I remember. Back a few years ago, had different quotes and different little Easter eggs in there. Looking at some of these, some of the news ones, even like the Stitch one and the Donald Duck. Wow, they go. Done a good job. Goes hard.
Really, yeah, totally. You can carry up to 7 keys, and it's expandable if you get their expansion thing. You got a little metal loop there to attach your car fob. And I believe
sounds like something I could use.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, these have what are they made of? Like they're faux leather, right? I think some of the Star Wars ones are real leather.
I think the one that you have looking at the side, I think it's a hybrid leather, which means I think the inside is I don't want to use the word plastic, but it's like that kind of material,
like faux leather.
And then.
Like
no, I think on the outside it's real leather, but on the inside it's like just like a plastic, so it's like a little bit more durable when you're sliding your keys in and out. I don't want to use the term plastic though, because I know it's probably not. Made from premium Napa leather on the outside and TPU polymer on the inside. Oh, there you go,
Napa leather.
So. There you are.
Yeah. So that one's that. Then we got the Donald Duck key loop, which it's very similar, except it's not a Swiss Army knife style. It's basically your classic leather loop above a key ring, but the key ring is like insanely smart. Because you don't need to break your fingernails to get this thing open. It's a very smart locking mechanism that you just kind of pull and it just unclicks, and it's great. How would you describe that mechanism?
I have to, I'm obviously biased, but I think it's one of the coolest like mechanisms that they've made. Like it doesn't require a key or anything to unlock it. You just like pull it up and it snaps, and then you rotate it and then pull it back down again, and it locks everything into place. It's so.
You just simply pull and twist, and it just and then there's a little gap in there that you can slide your keys in, and then you just pull it back in, and boom, just locked.
Yeah. Oh, there you go. Another audio detail there. I like it.
Yeah, exactly. And then finally, the other thing here is. They've sent out one of their amazing Toy Story sling bags, which this one is.
Which one did you get?
I got Woody, and I think you have Buzz Lightyear, right?
I have Buzz Lightyear. When I was in Disneyland, I was rocking that. I was rocking that hard throughout the whole throughout the whole park. And every time I saw someone else with an Orbitkey bag in Disneyland, I was like, oh look, a fellow person.
Yeah.
But I didn't actually go up to them though. I just whispered in their ear. I said, I have friends everywhere, and then they just looked at me strange. I'm like, oh, they must have not seen Andor. So, but yeah, it's cool. It's very handy when you're traveling and stuff.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah. No, this thing is great. They have the weather-resistant PU-coated zipper waterproof exteriors. So, it's not going to get your rainwater seeping in there. It's made from 100% recycled fabric. The zippers are YKK, if anyone's into the gold standard of zipper technology. They've got a really comfortable look and feel, and
the gold standard in zipper technology.
Yeah, dude, YKK is the zipper of choice.
It is the world's most known zipper brand.
Yeah,
so,
there you go. Yeah. Mate, I used to work at Orbitkey, and now I'm like, oh wow, okay, this is I gotta make sure I get me some of these.
Get some quotes.
If you check your pants right now, if you check your pants, the zipper on your pants is probably YKK.
Yeah, totally. Well, if it's good quality pants, it will be. Yeah.
Yeah, if I've got bad quality pants, it's probably not YKK. But that's when you know.
That's right.
That's when you know you got the good stuff.
That's right. Yeah. Inside, I love the inside because you get a nice cable pass through the different pouches, which bridges the front to the back. So you can put like an external battery in the front half and then have it kind of working its way into the back half where your phone might be hidden, which has got this like secure kind of rear compartment for your phone or your passport or anything like that. The bag also has what's called a custom hardware, which is for attaching your keys and accessories. So picture like an Orbitkey like key ring loop, but like giant and sort of permanently part of the like the band that kind of slings it around your body. So it's a very secure mechanism, and you could hang a water bottle off that thing. It's probably not going anywhere. But this thing also has a nice buckle. So take a listen to this. Oh yeah, quality buckle.
Oh yeah,
quality,
I think you just need to make an edit like sounds of Orbitkey and just like all these snaps and magnetic clicks and everything like that.
That's right, man. Even the booklet attached to this thing, it's like quality cardboard. Man.
Look at that.
This is turning into an ASMR podcast.
That's right.
Let's unbox Josh's new Orbitkey toys and just listen to everything.
So good, yeah.
You just got to get that soft voice going, like, all right, everybody.
All right,
now
everybody.
what we're gonna do is just snap.
All right, everybody, we're gonna take a listen to the zipper. There you go.
Oh wow!
It's got a nice.
I don't know what was nice. I don't know what was nicer there, the zipper or your voice. I'm not sure. I'm getting confused.
It's a very nice, soothing voice. Sound like Hayden Christensen. And you're going to hear the sound of the zipper now.
All we need is Dave Filoni to come back and give us a voiceover. Although I think that's the opposite of ASMR.
Yeah, I think it is. I love the mesh pockets on the inside. It's all elasticated. There's a little internal key loop there. This thing is awesome. I mean, next time I'm in the Disney parks, I'm 100% going to be rocking this thing. What was it like bringing your Buzz Lightyear to Disneyland? Did you get people looking?
Yeah, I was getting so much attention. In fact, I had quite a few people. That's a lie, by the way. People weren't actually coming up to me because of my bag. But I had a couple people just ask me when I was waiting in line, being like, "Oh, like which store in the park did you get it from?" And I said like, "Oh no, it was from outside of the park, I guess." I showed one person the Orbitkey website, so I did my duty.
There you go.
And hopefully that worked out. That works out for them.
Well, these things, oh man, I should have had this information offhand, but do you remember what they retail for? Totally forget. Let me just look it up.
Which one particular? The key organizers retail for. I got the Australian pricing here, so I'll have to change it to US pricing.
You can do Australia. It's closer.
Yeah.
The USD is 34 for the key organizers for the Disney ones, and then the travel sling is depending on which. There's a few different slings and everything like that. So depending on what size and stuff you get, they come in different prices, and there's also like gift So like a multi-tool and key organizer kit and different things. So, but yeah, the key organizer start from like 34, it looks like it, and then some of the kits are like 49, where you get a multi-tool with it or something else.
Oh yeah,
too. So just head on over to orbitkey.com / actually I don't know what /
yeah,
is. Just go
/ collections / Disney. That's the one.
Something like that.
Man, you guys got a nice discount in Australia. We had so the sling bag over here is 140 Canadian, and then the key loop, like the key loops for Donald, Mickey, Goofy, Minnie, 54, and the key organizers are 45. So definitely better to pick them up in Australia if you're over there on a trip. But just heads up.
Yeah, I guess Australian company. They
serving the locals first.
So even though our exchange rate's terrible for everything else, that's just what we gotta. That's what we gotta do.
Oh man, well, huge thank you to Orbitkey for sending these over, and yeah, thank you again. And we love the line, we love the company too, and always pumping out quality stuff, as noted by the YKK zippers. So.
That's right. That right. AMSR zipper thing.
That's right. All right, Kirk, I know you don't have too much time left, but I guess we'll just get things started with you, and then you can kind of head out whenever. But we'll move over to our final subject of the day, which is the Battlefront game chat. So let's get into it.
Mind trick stop. Only money.
All right. I had my headphones turned up all the way to hear your ASMR, and then now Sebulba. That wasn't Sebulba. Who was that?
Watto.
Watto just absolutely has turned me deaf now. I can't hear anything.
But it's only money.
Only money. Just gets blasted away. All right. So this is a comparison of the original Battlefront 2004 from Pandemic, Battlefront 2 from 2005 from Pandemic, and then later the Battlefront 2015 from DICE EA, and then Battlefront 2 from 2017 from DICE EA. So I guess we can start off with kind of the earliest of. Well, I guess first, I know Kirk's got to go, but which games have you spent the most time playing?
I've played definitely the two DICE games. I got the first one, played of the two DICE games, played so much of that. And then the second one, or the most recent one, even after all the updates and everything, and during the quieter periods, I played, like, I keep coming back to it. It's just like one of those games you can just pick up again, and then it's so fun, like, just to do as a bit of an arcade shooter, I guess. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love those games so much. I think the campaigns are actually not too bad either, or the campaign on the second one. And I think the graphics and everything in the first one is like unbelievable for, like, it came out in 2015 or something. Like, it looks so good. Yeah. Yeah, both love those games. Obviously, the second game is just far more polished, and the first one, when you look at it now, it's kind of like a very basic entry back into the franchise. Yeah, I love them.
Yeah, no, it's great. Yeah, what about you, Kyle? Like, what have you spent the most time with out of all four of those?
I spent most time playing the originals, the first two that came out. So those are the ones I spent most of the time playing myself. But late at night, I would sit and I would watch Twitch, and I would watch people playing the other Battlefronts. And I really loved it. I just never got it myself, but I really loved watching people when they're stormtroopers and it's like a hallway scene, and then they put on some sort of AC/DC track in the background and just obliterate with like heavy machine guns. So I really loved watching that stuff. But personally, I just played the earlier ones. That's just the stuff that I like too, and that's where you start.
Right. Yeah. So the first Battlefront from 2004 from Pandemic, there was 4 categories that I kind of compare the games for. Category 1 is scope of eras. Category 2 is single player experience. Category 3 is classes and progression. And category 4 is heroes and vehicles. So this game primarily covered the Clone Wars, episodes 1 through 3, and the Galactic Civil War, which is episodes 4 through 6. For single-player experience, it featured non-linear campaigns that were essentially a series of instant action matches tied to a chosen faction. The classes and progression used a simple class system, which was infantry, heavy, sniper, and engineer. Heroes were random and unplayable NPCs. And heroes and vehicles were less central to the main game modes compared to later entries. No playable heroes. So is now the time, Kirk? Do you have to go now?
No, I've got another 10 minutes or so, so should be good.
All right, cool. Kyle, what do you remember about this first game? Out of any of those 4 categories, like what you might like the most about this game?
I always played heavy gunner, just because I'm a run and gunner type of guy. So, but I just loved like the playing fields that they did, because I only played it single player and stuff. I never really did any multiplayer, too much of that anyway, on anything really, for Star Wars games. But I would my thing was it was my game that after I'd get off work, I could sit down and play, immerse myself and kind of be in the Star Wars world. Now, I know the graphics aren't obviously as good as they are today or anything like that, but you know, a little more imagination kind of went into it. But I love the gameplay for it. I like how it was open world, kind of. You run around and choose kind of what you want to do in each map that you were in.
Mm-hmm.
So I like that sort of stuff. But and I did like how the heroes would come by and you know, you could mess up some people pretty good.
Yeah, I never actually spent a whole lot of time in the first one. I mostly spent time with Battlefront 2 from the 2005 version of the game. It's kind of crazy that these games came back to back, but I do remember what I liked about Battlefront 2. Something that a lot of people actually don't like about Battlefront 2 is that you had the ability to play as a hero, which was a really cool unit, which was typically like a Jedi or Sith character. But in the Battlefront 2004 game, you couldn't do that. They were completely unplayable NPCs. The heroes were not within the player's realm of being able to touch. So
I remember being like, you would run up to the play, like you'd see like Mace or whatever, and you could run up to him, and then he would just start messing people up around you.
Right. Yeah.
If that's what I remember about it. Yeah.
So there was also some cool maps in this game that were different from the Battlefront 2 game in 2005. Like I remember some cool Geonosis maps from 2004 that never made their way into the 2005 game. So those were really cool. Did you have a favorite map from this game that you liked playing?
I was gonna say, no, it's got to be the Geonosis one, but there's one map where I believe you're on Geonosis, and there's like a huge freaking Empire. I forget what it was, but one of their mechanized things going around and blowing stuff up, and you had to run around as fast as you could, collect like 5 or 6 things, and then be able to take that down. And that was one of my favorite maps because I liked the runaround part of it. So that was I forget the name of the map, but that was my favorite one. Yeah.
Right. Well, this game came out 21 years ago, so it's kind of surreal.
You know, you can actually get these games for free on Xbox right now. You can get them for free through the X Game Pass or something like that. I've got them on my Xbox still too.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, I think they also just launched something called the Classic Collection, which they re-released the old Battlefront games in sort of like they just slightly updated the I guess the inner workings of the game to just work on more recent systems. I don't think anything's different about them, rather than they've,
just like emulated over sort of thing.
Yeah, kind of. So
Okay.
I wouldn't expect a whole lot out of the Classic Collection that was recently, released. But if anyone did want to play it on, some newer systems, it should be available on the most recent of systems as of that collection having launched. So maybe give it a go if it's up your alley. It came out in March 2024, relaunching on Xbox One and Series X and X and PS5 and 4 and all that, and Switch. It's bringing the old Battlefront classics to the masses now. So.
Yeah, because I've got it on my Xbox S, and what was it? It was like a few months ago that I just went on there and I was like, I just typed in Star Wars and free games, and it came up with a lot of them for free.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It certainly did. Yeah. So I guess I mean that's that. We can just kind of breeze through these here, but Battlefront 2 only launched 1 year later. That one was from the same studio, Pandemic. For Scope of Eras, this game expanded on the 2004 game, adding content specifically related to Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith, because of course this game launched the same year that the film did. The single-player experience, they had a highly praised narrative-driven campaign called Rise of the Empire, following the perspective of a clone trooper in the 501st Legion, which was narrated by none other than Tamura Morrison. The classes and progression of this game feature defined classes for each faction. Commander, Jet Trooper, for example, in the clone faction, the Republic, and introduce playable heroes who could be unlocked by earning points. Finally, heroes and vehicles massively expanded on the original by introducing space battles to the equation, making iconic heroes and villains like Jedi and Sith fully playable in battles. You could play as Darth Vader, you could play as Anakin Skywalker, Obi-Wan Kenobi, Darth Sidious, Yoda, I believe. You know, there was a bunch of playable characters, and it was pretty neat for that. There was also a really cool game mode that I remember called Galactic Conquest, which if you played is as a pair with one other person, you could essentially, it was like a big strategy board game where you could conquer a planet either over space or on land. And if you took the system, it would now become yours, and you had to try and take over the galaxy. And the enemy would attack your planets, and you would go into a battle, and you'd essentially be playing a giant board game. But every time a combat situation happens, you're playing a whole game of Battlefront, which is pretty cool. So sometimes it would take like a solid day or two to finish Galactic Conquest, and that's if you're good. So it was pretty cool experience in the game, but they've never done anything like that since. But Kirk, what do you remember from Battlefront 2, 2005?
Oh, I've only played. I must have been a wee little lad when I played that. I remember playing it alongside like Halo 3 or something on my really old like beige PC that my parents had back in the day. I don't have too much memory of it apart from like it was kind of like around the time that I would have just been getting into like Star Wars because the prequels came out and everything. I think, oh my God, I would have been like 8 or 9 years old. No, not even. I would have been like 7 or 8 years old. And I think I probably played it not in like 2005, but maybe a few years later. I remember here in Australia, we always had really bad internet. So it was only like after like 11 o'clock at night that you could actually get like a game where you didn't get like 200 like ping. So I remember it was always like, it never really worked. But like whenever like, I think later on, I played a little bit of it with friends and stuff like on school LAN servers and things like that. And they were good fun. I definitely, most of my at least experience has been from the more recent DICE games, admittedly.
Right. Yeah. Kyle, what do you have? What's some fond memories you have of the Battlefront 2?
For me, I never really played too much of the multiplayer. I did mostly storyline stuff, so I had a ton of fun just playing that. But the Galactic, what was that one you were just saying? The Galactic War?
The Galactic, I think it was called Galactic Conquest, and it was basically either a single player or multiplayer driven sort of board game experience where you had the whole galaxy at your disposal. The galaxy being the maps that they have obviously made playable in the game. And you would start off with maybe 2 or 3 planets or 1 to 3 planets in your possession. And the enemy would start off with 1 to 3 in theirs. And you would progress through the game by taking over systems, kind of like Risk. Is a little bit like Risk of how you kind of move outwards. And when you come into contact with the enemy on any of these planets, or if they come into contact with one of yours, you get launched into a battle on that planet. And you also have space units that are going around protecting some of these planets. And if their fleet intercepts your fleet, then you'd be launched into a space battle over that planet instead. So it was really cool that if you had ever attacked a planet that was being guarded by by spaceships and had enemy possession, you'd be going into a space battle first. And then I think you also had to do the ground battle after. So
had to work your way down.
Yeah, like it was a really cool like way of doing a game. I feel like it set a standard, in my opinion, for how the Battlefront series should have unfolded with the canceled 3rd game in the series, and which would have featured a system in which space battle was happening simultaneously to the ground battle, and you could fly from the space battle down to the ground and vice versa, and it was all happening at the same time. So that would have been insanely cool, and it's still not something that they've done, even to the most recent Battlefront game, where the space battle scenario is kind of this interlude between capturing command posts and gaining enough points if you hold the main, the majority for so much time. It's a system that they haven't worked out quite yet in terms of like happening all at the same time, but that would have been a really cool thing. But I remember Battlefront 2 being amazing for their brand new space system and getting to fly around and stuff like that. Yeah, cool concept.
I don't like, for some reason it sounds familiar, but I don't remember playing that. But that to me, I'm gonna go back and actually remind myself or play it again just to be like it. Yeah, because I love that style of gaming. It's like chess-like. What's another game that is like? It's kind of like EVE Online, where it's like you take system by system, and people could come and still mess your planets up.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. Yeah, so yeah, that's and yeah, it's called Galactic Conquest mode inside of Star Wars Battlefront. So definitely.
My favorite part of. Sorry.
Oh no,
what were you saying?
Oh yeah, it's also in the first game as well. So if you played the first one, it's a mode in both that exists in both games. Yeah.
Okay. Well, then I definitely played it, but I mean, 20-something years, and I've got 480 games on my Xbox right now. So, yeah.
Dang, that's quite a bit.
But no, I'm gonna go back and play that one, and I always download as much as I can for video games. But I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna try that one over again for the Conquest, because I've just been getting back into old video games this last little while, and so I think that's one that I'm gonna go do that again.
Yeah, for sure. All right.
Oh, I was going to say, though, my favorite part of that, though, was that you could actually finally be like a Jedi. You could be a hero person.
Oh, yeah. I feel like that part of the game was very divisive. I feel like either you love it or hate it, depending on if you were playing against other players in the multiplayer experience or if you were, playing with, because, if you were a battle droid or a clone and some Jedi or Sith came along, you're just done. Like there's no hope of outrunning that guy or anything. Like you're just toast. You just got to sit there and take it, but you just like throw spam grenades and hope that something hits. It's kind of crazy.
You know what? That's like a good segue into the new ones, because in the new ones, if you got Vader or Luke, you're going to own like a section of that battlefield for a little while, and anybody that you come up against, you're going to destroy them.
Yeah. All right, Kirk, I know you got to go, so we'll exit you out, but thanks so much for jumping on, buddy. Appreciate it. And
thanks for having me on this one, guys. Yes, enjoy. I'll be on the pod next time, but in the meantime, I'm off to Dex's Diner for a dozen donuts. So.
Hey, Kurt, before you go, check the chat. I sent a picture of how enthusiastic my daughter was at her play tonight. So check that out before you go. You'll laugh your butt off.
She looks just as enthusiastic as I did when I got out of the theater of watching episode 9.
There you go. Okay. Yeah, okay.
All right. Man. See you guys. Take care.
Thanks, buddy. Take care.
You too, man. You too.
Bye.
All right, moving on to the 2015 Battlefront delivered to us from DICE. This one was a bit of a hit to the series, the franchise title, I guess I should say, because I think a lot of people just expected a lot more out of a game that had the Battlefront title to it. This game, for scope of the eras, it focused exclusively on Galactic Civil War, which was the original trilogy only. No Clone Wars content was in there at launch. The single player experience was completely, almost entirely irrelevant. This game lacked a traditional story campaign at all, and instead offered exclusively co-op missions, kind of like a survival mode. So you could play with one other player online in like a 2-player zombies mode, so to speak, where the enemies come at you in waves, and I think it maxes out at like wave 15 or 25 or something like that. And you could either play that solo or with a friend. The classes and progression of this game replaced the traditional class system with a highly customizable star card system, allowing players to mix and match abilities for their trooper or their unit. And then the heroes and vehicles side of this game, heroes and vehicles were accessed by picking up randomly spawned tokens on the battlefield, making their appearance completely luck-based. Initial release lacked space battles entirely and was later added via a DLC. But I think in the time that I played the game, I don't even remember a whole lot of the game involving space battles. But then again, I mean, there was no campaign to this game whatsoever. Like, it was simply just for the heck of putting out an online shooter. And I think when they made this game, I really do think it was almost ahead of its time with the mentality of, you know, having constructed the game for an online focus group and not so much, you know, your average couch gamer who might have a buddy or two in the room, and also just maybe the single player who doesn't want a competitive experience at all and just wants to verse, you know, like bots or something like that. The only mode that they could play was essentially survival. So do you have any memories of this game when it came out 10 years ago, or like what would you like? What do you have, you know, experience wise with this one?
Oh, me?
Yeah,
I thought you were talking. For me, when it came out, I kind of listened to everybody, and they said that there was no real, you know, single player op. Like, it kind of sucked. So for me, I never got the game. I never played it, but I just watched the heck out of it on Twitch because I loved watching the battles. I usually pick people that don't talk on their Twitch. I don't want to see their video. You know what I mean? I just want to see the game being played. And I just had fun watching it, especially when somebody found one of the little lightsabers that would be sitting there turn into the character. And I was just like, yeah, go get him, you know. And I loved the graphics in it. I liked what I saw for the gameplay. Like, again, you were saying it's kind of ahead of its time. And it reminds me of a game that came out on PlayStation by like 2010. And it was like this new game, 400 people in one map. And it was insane, but it never took off. Like, the concept was great, but it never took off. There was no single player option. It was only you play the 400 or nothing. And I find that the game was great, fun to look at, fun to watch, but gameplay wise, like I want a cool solo at least, like Call of Duty Black Ops. They usually have some pretty good solo stuff. A lot of people, now that's controversial. A lot of people will be like, no, they don't. But I enjoyed a lot of it, you know.
Yeah.
I enjoyed playing those parts. Yeah.
I enjoyed the survival mode the best. I think I'm a sucker for like the Call of Duty Zombies game, you know. But I mean, it is very much a niche thing. I didn't dump a whole lot of hours into this game whatsoever. The Starcard system was kind of an interesting way, which they stuck with that one through Battlefront 2. But it was an interesting way to add some customizable traits to how you wanted to play the game. So that way you could make your guy look however you wanted to and choose your weapon, but then, you know, completely customize the bonuses or I guess some of the personalized effects that your guy would have on the battlefield. So that part was kind of interesting. There was some maps that were really cool in this game that actually I really wish they had recycled a lot of the Battlefront 2015 stuff into Battlefront 2. But, you know, as the way things go, they do want to keep that game its own game and not have it be irrelevant when the second one comes out. So as critically negative as it was received, sadly, some of those really stellar, gorgeous looking maps just never made its way into the next one. So, I mean, they're really only environments and maps that you can play in the first game that you wouldn't be able to play later. And that was kind of a crying shame. But yeah, some of my good memories from that one definitely evolve around the 2-player survival mode. Not so much.
They should have had sea snipers make some of those maps. We made some of the maps for Call of Duty, and they were some of the more favored maps. Too bad they never got to us.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah. Okay, finally is the Battlefront 2, the 2017 game from DICE EA. This game, the scope of eras expanded on the 2015 game outwards to the most comprehensive in scope entirely ever made, featuring content from all 3 major eras, including the prequels, the originals, and the sequel trilogies, including a little bit from Rogue One and Solo. Although I don't know if the maps, I'm blanking on whether or not there was maps from, oh yeah, you know what? There was a map from Solo. It was the, Kessel. Single player experience was amazing. This game introduced a canonical single player campaign that followed the character Iden Versio, who is the commander of an Imperial Special Forces unit called Inferno Squad. This game also had a tie-in novel that featured the same group of characters from Inferno Squad, which was a pretty great Star Wars book, in my opinion. Much better than the first Battlefront book, which was called Twilight Company. The classes and progression in this game reverted to a more traditional defined class-based system with assault, heavy, officer, and specialist that level up and unlock upgrades and star cards, but they kept the star card system from the previous game. So they kind of combined the best of both worlds in that sense, when the old games featured some basic classes, but then you also had the star card system to further tune those units to your liking. And furthermore, they did have some more specialized classes as well, like aerial, and there was another one there as well. I'm just blanking on it. And then they had heroes as well. So this game brought in those. The classes and progression system, the heroes and vehicles in this game are accessed by spending battle points earned through the performance of the current match, making them a reward for skilled play in the moment. So those points did not cross over between games. So if you really suck at the game, you might only be able to play as a Jedi or a vehicle like maybe once. But if you're really good, then maybe you would like be hogging all the Luke Skywalker respawns, and you would just be milking that until you run out of lives. But this game featured a robust starfighter assault mode as well. A ton of space combat was brought into this game and also was featured in the main campaign as well. And I know people that pretty much exclusively played Battlefront 2 2017 for the space combat. Like that was like a really dialed in system at this point. It had a lot to offer. And even though I suck at the space combat, I fully recognize that it had its own fully fledged out system and all that stuff. So what kind of memories do you have of this game, Kyle?
Battlefront 2. Again, I basically watched all of it on Twitch for a long time, but I would say, okay, again, what I said earlier, my favorite stuff is when you get a nice team together and you get like a couple dudes with machine guns and you do a hallway scene, and I absolutely love those. And I like the fact of when I'm watching that, and it looks like so much fun, but because you're watching the blaster fire go off, and it's just insanity, and it reminds me of, I do kind of hate to say this, but Call of Duty, which is a game that I absolutely loved back in the day. It's turned into something different now, but it makes me think of that. Like I don't know. It just reminds me of the camaraderie, and I absolutely love the graphic of it, and how it made me feel while I'm watching this is, wow, you're on this planet. Oh, you're actually doing this. Like you can immerse yourself into it quite well, even just watching it and somebody else playing, where it's something that's Star Wars. It's new. You're seeing a battle from a different way. I just really like that sort of thing. That's where my mindset is on it.
Yeah, for sure. I really enjoyed the campaign about this game too. I don't know if you ever played the campaign, but it was a really cool story, and fits within the canon, and also features a lot of environments and areas of the game that you cannot access in the multiplayer experience. So it was its own part of the game, very, very unique in its own right, and I always highly recommend.
Hold on here. You said it's canon?
Yeah.
From everybody that I've spoken to, they said the games are not canon.
The games are canon ever since.
Is that the original Battlefronts? Because they were canon or something. They changed it.
No, well, ever since the Disney buyout, nothing prior to the Disney buyout is canon, other than the Clone Wars. So the new Battlefront from EA, the DICE game, that was the first one to do a campaign, because the first 2015 EA DICE game didn't feature any kind of story at all. So that being said, this one did have a canon storyline, and I believe it was the first game other than Jedi Fallen Order, and I think that was pretty much it. Like it was released during the dry spell where EA held an exclusive license to make Star Wars games for a while, and there was very little in terms of canonical stories within the canon that took place in a video game. But so far, we only have a few. We only have the Jedi Fallen Order, Jedi Survivor, Star Wars Battlefront 2, Star Wars Squadrons, and since then we've had a few others like Star Wars Outlaws. There's been some VR games like the Vader Immortal trilogy and the Tales from the Galaxy's Edge and Beyond Victory. Other than that, there's really very, very few game experiences that have contributed to the canon, which is why today is kind of an exciting day We've been waiting years for Star Wars Eclipse to come out. That's still in progress. We've got 2 trailers that released as of today that feature cinematic gameplay narratives in a game, which will be coming out in the next couple of years. So, I think going forward, the idea is that I think we're going to be getting more of those story Star Wars games, and they will indeed be taking place within the canon of that Lucasfilm has been building for the last couple of years. So that's what's really exciting about all that. But yeah, give it a go. Give it a playthrough, and I think you'll enjoy it.
Yeah, I'm definitely, especially on the second one. If it's got a one where I can immerse myself in and play like solo, and I don't really have much people with me, that's definitely more of my kind of alley for. Because when I'm playing a video game, I like turning all the lights out. I like
Oh man,
getting right into it, and I'm like, okay, today. I'm this.
100%. Yeah.
I'm John Marsden today.
100%. You will get a kick out of Battlefront 2 then. If you've never played the campaign in that game, prepare yourself because it's fantastic. Definitely worth your time. So yeah, and that one of my favorite parts about this game, about Battlefront 2, is playing the co-op expansion that they did later on. I think it was an online multiplayer mode that they released later, and it didn't actually come out at launch, but you and 3 other players online basically take part in kind of a tug of war experience with the command posts, and either you're on offensive or defensive, and if you're on offensive, you have to capture at least one of the 2 or 3 command posts that the enemy has, and you have to do that 3 or 4 consecutive times. Each pushing the enemy back towards their last final singular checkpoint. And if you're on defensive,
like Battlefield.
Yeah, and if you're on defensive, it's the same thing except you're defending. So it was a really cool mode, and it was the perfect kind of gameplay if you and 3 other friends just were playing online together and you needed something to do, and it was an awesome way to experience the game. But that being said, it was capped out at 4, and there were times which I would have more than 4 players online, which then we would have to play the online Galactic assault mode or whatever that one's called.
The actual battle mode.
Yeah, either Supremacy or Galactic Conquest, and then you would be in the boat with other players, and all of a sudden it gets a little bit more competitive, of course, because then you get real people shooting at you as well as NPCs. But all the modes in Battlefront 2 are fantastic. They even introduced Ewok Hunt, which was very, very well done, where you either start off as an Ewok or a Stormtrooper, and the Stormtroopers have to hunt all the Ewoks down, and the Ewoks have to hunt all the Stormtroopers down, and the Stormtroopers have to live until the shuttle shows up. So there was a lot of cool stuff there to enjoy in that game, and I still find myself going back into Battlefront 2 from 2017 and playing a few of those modes here and there, and you can also find the game for
it's cross-platform, isn't it?
I don't know if it is or isn't. I don't think it is, sadly. I think they should have made it cross-platform, but I don't think it is. I think
darn.
Yeah, the consoles might be cross-platform, so I think you might be able to play with PS players if you're on an Xbox, but I don't think the PC version is cross-platform, which is really kind of a crying shame. This game had a really rough launch. Didn't launch very well at all because initially the game had a lot of microtransactions involved with the main game and the online experience. And after a Reddit comment from one of the developers was posted online shortly after the game's release, it was in a reply to somebody's criticism online on Reddit. And that developers or that community managers, I forget who it was, but it was somebody who was working at DICE or EA, got the most downvoted comment in Reddit history ever. And that was about a Star Wars game. And so after that, I believe that person was relieved of duty, and EA actually did a huge overhaul to the game. It stripped out all of the microtransactions from the gameplay. And because the game launched at first where you couldn't even play as Vader or any one of those heroes. You had to like basically like earn in-game currency or buy in-game currency to then purchase a loot box, and then the loot box would maybe unlock it for you. So you would have to be like, you know, either investing further into the game or playing a heck of a lot to try and just unlock the ability to play one of those famous characters. So a lot of people are pretty mad about that. And that's why they ended up changing that within the first couple months, I believe it was. But even still, like there's a lot of people who don't know that about the game, but that was a notorious thing about the game at the time when it got released. Like people were only told bad things about it because of that. And yeah, and therefore the long-term life of the game ended up just kind of fizzling out. They put a number of pretty solid updates afterwards, after that whole event. They promised a roadmap, which delivered, I think it was up to like 2 or 3 years worth of content. And then it just kind of died. And there was a bunch of content that actually went nowhere because there's like voice lines for like Ahsoka Tano and stuff that were never used. It's a character that you can't play as in the game, but voice lines were recorded for the character. Same with Ventress, I believe, and maybe a few others. So I think they were planning on doing like a Clone Wars specific update. And that would have been bonkers, but because a lot of the existing material in the game also includes some Clone Wars stuff, but yeah, it was kind of sad that the game didn't further continue to update, because I feel like they probably could have, you know, done some more work to flesh out the game, fix up some bugs, still expand the game's material, and possibly put out better ways of making money back on the game with proper like DLC and stuff like that didn't milk the experience for players, you know, and I feel like that would have been appropriate for a game that does feature an online source of players, but they never. I think they just gave up. They were like, you know what, like I guess they've moved on to other things, and they just didn't have the heart to keep going with it, which is really sad. So,
you know, this is the thing that I find with a lot of game developers. You find that they make a game, they make this awesome game, and people go nuts for it. Online goes, hey, this is great, and we'd like to see another one. Let's see it. And then they take it, make the new game, and it's. I mean, Battlefront 2 is great and everything, but you see how they cut it when it's like, look, they had so much more material that they could work with, and they just chose not to. And it's like, dude, you guys had the largest. It may be negative, but all press is good press, right? So you had the largest downvoted thing in the history of Reddit, and you're not going to capitalize on that and drop as much stuff as you can. I'm glad that they got rid of the microtransactions, because I hate those. But at the same time, you know, if you're going to pump something out, you can do DLC content. People will pay for characters and for extra content, you know, and as long as you're not doing a microtransaction, where it's like, okay, you can get Ahsoka, but nothing else. It's like, if you make a package deal out of it, you'll make money on that. And that's all they have to do. Listen to the people. And even that bad news, it's still good. It's still good for your company. Look at how many people commented. Look how many people want a good product.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's true. I mean, and you know, the game has just to kind of wrap this up in a nice, neat little bow, is this game does have a very intense modder group out there, and there's a project. So if you do play the game on PC and you know you're still very much actively playing this game, there's a Discord out there and a community called Kysabers, Star Wars Battlefront 2. They have a website up and everything. They're doing play tests on a 4th wave now, and essentially it's an online group. They've created their own custom server system, so now you can. It's not blindly jumping into a match. Like, at least you have the option of setting up servers, you know, or jumping into a server, knowing how many people are actually in there, and not relying on the EA servers, which is blessed, because those servers were terrible. And then on top of that, they've included mods into the certain servers. So there's some servers that will auto download certain modifications to your game. Now all of a sudden you have characters that you could play as that you've never been able to play as before. There are so many cool things that they've done to expand the game and give it new life and continue the lifespan of the game for players who are even just getting the game today. So Just as an example, like you can play as Asajj Ventress in the Kyber modes. You can play as Darth Revan. You can play as Darth Nihilus. You could play as let's see here. Like there's so many characters. You could play as Ahsoka Tano. You can play as Kit Fisto, I believe. There is an incredible amount to see and play through in this expanded version of Battlefront. There's also maps that they have made for the game. The Star Wars Jedi Temple map that's most made famous from the 2005 game. Like, that's something that they're bringing into this game as well. So there's a lot happening in this game, which in the Kyber mods that would certainly add a lot of value to the game for anyone who is looking to get back in there and keep going. Recently, Wave 4 deployed 12,000 new players into their playtest, so a ton of people have been playing it. So specifically for people playing on PC, this is definitely something that you'll want to do if you were a big Star Wars Battlefront 2 fan and want to keep going and feel like the EA server side is dead. This is kind of infused new life into that game. So, or if you don't play on PC and you're looking to maybe jump into a PC shooter or some kind, this might be a great place to start. It's supposedly fairly easy to get the Kyber system set up on the game itself, but I'm not entirely sure which version you need. To be safe, I would probably say the Steam edition, but who knows? It probably doesn't matter at all. So definitely check that out. And that is the Star Wars Battlefront comparison. But yeah, very exciting stuff. Is there
just for the people that are out there, I just looked it up on Xbox, and Battlefront 2 right now is only $26.
The new EA one?
Yeah.
It was
only 26 Canadian right now.
It was completely free on Epic Games. I think probably like 2 years ago or 3 years ago now, which is really cheap. Yeah. On
free. I like how you're like, well, it's really cheap. It's free. That's super. That's as cheap as you can
Yeah, it's as cheap as you can get. Right now, it's top dollar on Steam. It's still
like zero. No, I want better.
But so like right now, I wouldn't recommend buying it right now because right now it's like $52 on Steam. But I've seen it get very frequently. They have a Star Wars sale on May 4th, and it goes down to like next to nothing. Like we're talking like $10, maybe $15 at the very most. This year we had
on Xbox right now. It's $26 just for Star Wars Battlefront 2. It's $51 for the Celebration Edition upgrade, or you can get the triple bundle, which is like you get Squadrons, you get Fallen Order, and Battlefront 2 for $109.
Yeah, so just wait till like May 4th or something like that. That'll be like half price, like easy.
Yeah.
Yeah. The sales on May 4th are crazy, especially for those games, like because they're a little older now. They've definitely added like a crazy big discount.
I thought they would have put out, what is it, Outlaws?
Yeah, Outlaws just came out last year, so that one I've seen it go for like 40% off maybe. But yeah, Battlefront 2, like I've seen it go for like 85-90% off, which is pretty unreal. So if you don't own the game yet and you're looking to get it, maybe just wait a couple months or just keep an eye out for those sales. But yeah, definitely. If you want more life and added to the game, buy it on PC. Get the Kyber expansion. I think they're only open to Patreon subscribers at the moment, but it's like $3 or $4 only on a monthly basis just to get in, and then you're in. Do you have any Star Wars traditions that you do for Christmas? This on an annual basis? Do you watch the movies? Do you watch the holiday special? Like, what do you do?
The holiday special. I don't really have any Star Wars traditions. Plus, I'm in the process of moving and everything. So just this year, I think is going to be pretty quiet. But I know I'm going to watch at least a couple. And right now, I'm looking at Battlefront 2 at $26, and I'm going, I want to play the solo. So I might just do that for the next little while.
Nice. Have you played through Star Wars Squadrons, the campaign on that?
No, I haven't. I haven't played the Squadrons at all, but I'm told it's really fun.
It is fun. Yeah, that one was definitely a good one. It also has like an online player base as well for like dogfighting. That's cool. The campaign was definitely really cool. Squadrons was actually built off of the space combat engine that they developed for Battlefront 2. So it has a lot of similar feel when it comes to driving around in a starfighter, but it's all first person. So So that was kind of neat about that game. And then of course you played Fallen Order, I think, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Anything with Cal. Yeah.
Okay. So within the first like 4 Star Wars EA games, I guess you at least played like one of them, or 2. Well, I guess you played Battlefront
Fallen
too.
Order and Survivor.
Yeah. Okay. So you played the best single player stories that you can get from EA. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Cool.
Because again, when I'm doing that, I become okay. I know there's people out there that are like me, but when you walk past an NPC and they're like, "Would you like fish, sir?" I could walk past them 100 times and be like, not today. I talk to the people. You know what I mean? So I love doing that because I think that's what games are. Yeah, I think that's what they're made to do, is really let you escape and become somebody else. And you can fail, and there's no real repercussions from your failures. It's how do I figure this out to accomplish my goal? And that's one thing that I love about all games.
Yeah, that was something that Outlaws actually did fairly well. I have my critiques about Outlaws. I played through that entire game. I finished the main story.
Did you?
Yeah, I finished the main story. There was a lot of side missions that I'm still kind of working my way through, but the main story.
What did you think? It's because
I've
watched a little bit of it, but I haven't played it.
You can definitely just listen to our in-depth review. Like we did an episode on that, but in short, I had a lot of problems at launch that they later fixed in updates, and just as far as the story goes, it was not bad. It was. I guess if you're a big fan of Solo and the world, the underworld and the world of smugglers and stuff like that, I think you would probably gravitate a lot more to it than I did. But I'm a sucker for a good Force user story. So
that's what I want if I'm playing Star Wars.
It's not that I didn't like it. It's just that I didn't really I wasn't really drawn in as much as other games.
That's not your people's.
Right. Yeah. But as far as the detail in the game, it was very well done. Especially the parts of the environment that have a lot of NPCs and a lot of people, the areas that are more populated was just exceptional. And there was a lot of conversations. You can eavesdrop on some people. You get a hint as to where a treasure stash would be in a waterfall somewhere. Cool. And then you have to go there. And because it's very open world, it actually takes you a couple minutes to get these places. So it was very large in scale. And you have the freedom to go between all the planets in your ship, kind of similar to Jedi Survivor, except it took it to another level. So there were definitely some things about the game that were really cool, and it's also a very good looking game. It looks really good. The console experience was probably more stable than what I had on the PC, but again, that were just issues at launch that I had problems with. But in general, though, I would say if you like Star Wars games and you like stories and games that just tend to last many hours, this is definitely one of those games. Battlefront 2, the campaign is very, very much on the rails. It's as you would expect a Call of Duty campaign to be where you're just there for the story. You're just there to shoot some stormies, that's the Battlefront 2 experience. And then there's the Squadrons experience, which is also very much like that as well. It's very much on the rails for the campaign. You're put into a Star Wars episode, if you will, for 10 to 12 hours on a binge, and then it's done. So Outlaws is very much more expansive. It takes longer to finish. It's like Jedi Survivor, but doubled in size. And you are playing the role of a smuggler in the greater galaxy. And there is a story unfolding there, but unless you just binge and pursue only the main objectives, you could theoretically spend a lot of additional time in the game doing a lot of side stuff and side jobs and getting to know some of the more ins and outs of the time period that you're playing in. And it's good for that as well. But yeah, there's nothing I would say that was loomingly bad about the game or anything. It was just mostly a lot of technical issues and some complaints here and there. And I think a lot of the things that they have addressed have kind of brought it up, in my opinion, a little bit further. But yeah, definitely not my favorite Star Wars game though. But they yeah, I mean, again, it could have been probably a little higher up on the list if they had done a lot of that stuff from launch. So yeah, anyway, that's my.
I just remember being at San Diego Comic-Con and they had the big outlaw thing there, and I was dressed as Obi-Wan Kenobi, and they had a motorcycle that you could get on, the motorcycle the character has.
Oh yeah,
and you get on it, and it was like a green screen thing that like you don't know what's playing behind you, but they're just like, all right, throw the fans on, and then fans would blow in your face so it looked like the wind was going, and then you just do something for like 10 seconds. I'll have to find the video. I'll have to send it to you, but it's
that's awesome.
just pretty funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool. All right. Well, yeah. What are you looking forward to in the coming year? Because this will be the last time that we hear from you this year. But yeah, is there anything coming in 2026 that you're really stoked for? I mean, we have that Darth Maul animated series. We have the Mandalorian and Grogu hitting theaters. There is
that one is a big one for me. The Mandalorian and Grogu. I need closure. I need closure, and it better be freaking good closure.
Yeah. There's the two video games, Zero Company and Star Wars Galactic Racer that was announced today. But yeah, what else? What else are you looking forward to?
I'm kind of, to be honest, I'm a little nervous about the new Maul show coming out. Like they've really overdone Maul quite a bit, but everybody loves him, so I get it, and I love him too. But I'm told that there's going to be a Vader Maul fight, and I'm going, come on, like.
Not a fan.
But I am a fan, but I'm just worried that they're gonna mess it up.
Yeah, well,
this is big, okay, in Star Wars world, and I'm worried they're gonna mess it up.
Well, I'm
looking forward to it, but yeah,
this fight is definitely something that has been foreshadowed in Star Wars Rebels a long time ago. I think this was foreshadowed, but like 8 years ago or something like that in season 2 of Star Wars Rebels, when Maul says to Ezra that he can't take Vader alone. So yeah, it's been a long time coming, and I guess however they do it, I think have been well planned, seeing as it's been so long since that was initially conceived, I think, within the lore. So we're only going to spectate something that I think Dave Filoni and other creators over there at Lucasfilm Animation have actually been aware of for quite some time. So I guess we'll see.
Another thing that hopefully you can put to rest, because you're the guy that I go to, and I send you all this stuff. I'll just send you a message. I'll be like, "Is this meme real? Is this happening?" And you're like, you give me the Star Wars info, man, and you're like, "No, that's not happening, but this is going on." So my question is George Lucas actually coming back to help with a new project?
No way. I mean, there's.
Okay.
I don't think he. Not only he's kind of the age he's at now. I think he's aged out of the movie making process when it comes to releasing big blockbusters. It's just not. He just doesn't have the energy to do it anymore. I think a lot of the fans would probably want to see it, but I don't think he's got it in him to do so. I mean, I always love hearing the rumors, but I think it's just as likely as all those other rumors that we've been hearing for the last 10 years that Kathleen Kennedy is going to be walking out the door. And I think it's all a big joke, right? Like all the rumors are, a lot of them are typically false. So
you know what you should do? I should say you should have a little one of your little side podcast things, and it should be debunking the BS that comes out online. And then you just have me jump in there and go, dude, I saw this, and I saw this, and I saw this, and you're just like, nope, yep, nope.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea. Maybe we'll start off the new year by doing one of those, perhaps. And
there we go.
Yeah,
I'll gather as much of the weird stuff that I see, because I always go to you.
Yeah.
Here, come to this podcast. He knows his stuff, my man. Okay.
We certainly try to keep it real here, and we only talk about stuff that is actually been announced and through official sources. We're never any possible speculation stuff is usually called out as being speculation, and we always have fun with speculating what would come next, but it's always preconceived.
Opinion.
Yeah, and it's always preconceived that those are kind of our opinions and such. But But yeah, I mean, you know, as far as
this commentary, do not necessarily represent those.
yeah, exactly. We even have a little disclaimer in the Star Wars Launchpad podcast that we've been doing on the side. I don't know if you've been listening to any of those, but you know, there's a bit of a disclaimer.
Is that the short
over there.
ones?
Those are the short ones that are done completely
every once in a while.
with AI. Yeah.
Oh. Okay, no, I thought I was the what is it, the lightning ones or something?
Oh, Lightspeed, yeah, Lightspeed is our news sub series, but Star Wars Launchpad is the AI series that we're doing on the side. I think it's got like 12 or 13 episodes now, and yeah, and it's mostly all completely driven by AI. Only the intro and the outro has been pre-recorded by myself. But the actual conversation, the discussion taking place is completely AI based, and it's exceptional. It's crazy how good the conversations can be sometimes, with how deep that they get in the details and stuff like that. It's nuts. So, what's the podcast app that you listen? Like, what do you listen on?
Oh, for me, just Spotify.
Oh, okay, yeah. So yeah, I'll send you a link, and you can subscribe over there. But yeah, it's a cool experiment.
Okay. I was gonna say, I hope that you do another one of those HoloNet DJ music, AI music ones again. I'd like to do another one of those. That would be freaking wicked, man.
Yeah. I'll be looking into that, I think, in the new year, because we've got volume 1 and we have a volume 1.5, which was like 1 or 2 tracks for our Christmas episode that we did. But yeah, volume 2 is well overdue, and that'll certainly have its time in the sun, I think, as soon as the technology gets a little better. So
before that one, let me know when you're going to do it. And I like, you can do it on your AI, because I don't understand how it works. So I just learned ChatGPT. So there you go. But let me know beforehand. And what I'd like to do is pick a topic that you could give the AI thingy to make a song about.
Yeah, that would be cool. Yeah. A lot of those. Say again?
You'd be like, this one's your song, and I'd be like, yeah.
Yeah. All right, man. Thanks so much for joining in this week, and I guess we'll catch you another time. Yeah. All right.
Definitely.
All right, a big thank you to our audience for tuning in, and this will be one of our final episodes of 2025. Heading into 2026, we've got loads planned for you. We've already done some pre-scheduling, pre-planning for a lot of the subjects ahead in the coming weeks and the coming months. It's going to be a packed year, which is exciting, and lots to talk about. Lots of video games to look forward to. The Mandalorian and Grogu coming out, Maul Shadowlord, the Marvel prequel coming out to that animated show. We got so much stuff to talk about in the future. So may the Force be with you, and we'll see you next episode of Star Wars Escape Pod.